Richard Hunter and his wife for having us over in Nashville to share with you. My name is Akam. I'm a proud Nigerian. I come from a country where as children, we may not have the same opportunities as most people here, but we do share the same dreams. Since moving to this country 5 years ago, I've always been amazed that even though I live thousands of miles away, I share the same dreams as kids in America, though I do not have the same opportunities. I've always been surprised when some American youth squander opportunity, do not appreciate the education they are provided, or when they seem to not want to learn in order to better their lives. Where I come from, education is a gift. Opportunity is rare and valued, and schooling is not a right, but sought by the most ambitious young individuals. In Nigeria, if you do not pay attention at school, you can no longer go to school. If you do not learn your lessons, you are no longer welcome in class. And if you're disruptive in minor ways or disrespectful to the teacher, you whip with a cane. In the United States, no matter how poor you are, a first-rate education is available to you. Some may have it easier, but all in this country have the opportunity. That is not the same in other countries or in other continents. Therefore, I urge you to seize your fortune and take advantage of it. We are a lot alike. As a young boy from a different continent, like many young kids here, I had dreamed of soaring like Michael Jordan. I hope for safety and security as an adult, just like my contemporaries abroad. I dreamed of an end to hunger, famine, disease, and of the opportunity I could see that was available in other countries. I believed, as I believe today, that with hard work, great sacrifice, and extraordinary effort, I could accomplish anything. However, I looked out my window as a 12-year-old, and all I saw was danger, poverty, and a lack of opportunity. My mother worked tirelessly so that I could be fed and clothed. She worked making less than $100 a month. Nonetheless, I worked diligently as a student to be successful, even if I couldn't clearly see the pathway to success. I sought to seek a high level of education despite the conditions, mainly poverty and my father's abandonment of my family. 5 years ago, I left my friends, family, and everyone I had ever known to follow my dreams. I moved in with an American family whose motivations I did not understand. I took unimaginable risks in a world different from what I had ever known. To follow my dreams, I jeopardized everything. My desire for a better life took me to Montverde Academy in Central Florida in the 10th grade, from where I graduated 2 years ago. Through this experience, I made new friends from a country previously foreign to me. I also acquired an understanding of the American culture and got the opportunity to obtain an American college education. I cannot stress enough that although many American children take this opportunity for granted, in my country, this education is rarely available and greatly coveted. Hard work and sacrifice have been the cost of my education. When I came to the United States as a 10th grader, my classes were taught in English, which was not my native language. In order to succeed, I didn't make excuses. Rather, I worked diligently to improve my English, to equal the other children in my classes to whom English was a native tongue. As a junior, when I took the SAT and the ACT exams, both of which had English as a major component, I studied twice as hard to master English in order to achieve a good score. I knew that many children in Nigeria would greatly desire these opportunities that I had in America, and I was determined not to waste them. When it came time to go to college, I was very fortunate to have 5 universities to choose from, some of which were more acclaimed in basketball than my ultimate choice. I chose my university based on the opportunities that I would have after college in basketball. I wanted Phi education available, and I wanted to study subject matter that would educate me so that I can make a difference in the world. In the fall, I will begin my 3rd year of college. Today, I stand before you, having just completed my 2nd year as an economics major at Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Because of God's blessings, I am a proud player on the first Harvard basketball team to ever win the Ivy League championship and go to the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I am Ugochukwu Ilora Alexander Akam, a native of Enugu, Nigeria. I was born 10th of April 1991 in an extended polygamous family composed of 3 wives and 13 children, of whom I was the youngest. My parents divorced when I was 9 years old. I didn't anticipate the impact that the unease and uncertainty of my parents' divorce would have on me, yet it helped mold me for the many tasks ahead. As a consequence of my parents' divorce, my siblings and I were obliged to move into a small apartment with our mom, who neither had a job nor a college diploma. My mother, on a salary of less than $100 a month for full-time labor, became the sole provider of our household. She worked multiple jobs just to support our meager existence. My brothers had to stay with our uncle in the Ivory Coast, despite the civil war that had just erupted, and I had to move regularly from relative to relative. I am forever grateful to my mother and relatives for providing me with a home in these uncertain moments. As a result of these circumstances, I had to accept responsibility at a young age. By 11 years old, I had to work before and after school just to earn money, just to earn the money I needed for school supplies. However, I was fortunate to have enough food, shelter, and education. I was determined not to waste the opportunities I had been given. Unfortunately, I had endured and witnessed firsthand the hardships of poverty. When I was 15 years old, a month before I came to the US, I was fleeing with my best friend and cousin Akam when we were attacked by a dog. As we fled from the dog to seek safety, my cousin ran into the main road and got hit by a car. I traveled with him back in the back of a car to the nearest hospital, praying to God for his recovery. When we arrived at the hospital, and we were not allowed to enter because we couldn't pay for his medical care. We traveled another 45 minutes to another hospital, but unfortunately, my cousin Akam had died before the doctors could treat him. When I came to America, I learned that this should not happen in an educated society. Although this behavior was accepted in my homeland, I knew it was wrong. There are indeed many advantages to living in the United States. Despite these hardships, living in Nigeria had its own advantages. I taught myself many different languages in an effort to be able to communicate with different people as I traveled. As a result, I fluently speak French, Spanish, Portuguese, and English. I can converse and write in Igbo and Pidgin that I grew up speaking. When I was 16 years old, because of my height, I was given the opportunity to study in the United States. High school basketball coaches offered me the opportunity to study at their school so that they could allow me to play for their team. God blessed me with the physical attributes which allowed me the opportunities that were not afforded by my Nigerian classmates, and I was determined not to squander this gift. Unfortunately, I have not returned to Nigeria since I left in 2007. By leaving Nigeria, I had to accept a different culture and academic system. But whenever I look back at the barriers that I have already overcome, I'm convinced that there is nothing I cannot achieve. I appreciate the relative safety and tranquility in the United States compared to the uncertainty, violence, and unrest in my country. It has been both painstaking and rewarding to battle the challenges of assimilating into the American culture. I will be spending this summer in San Francisco working for Cisco. More than money or employment opportunities, today I am receiving an education which will give me a voice in society. Education will enable me to help solve Nigeria's problems and participate in the world discourse. I have sought a top-level education so that as an adult, I can dedicate my life to improving opportunities in my homeland so that in generations to follow, children like me can stay in Nigeria and have the same opportunities across an ocean to find. To all that aspire to reach your dreams, I want to say, keep pushing. Even when times seem tough, never lose hope, keep fighting. As my people say, it is the work of one's hands that decides what one eats for dinner. Thank you.
Thank you.